Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a wild intersection of sports, finance, and human psychology. We're going to skip the traditional talking heads and the sports pundits, and instead, we're going straight to where the smart money is actually going. We'll be using this incredibly detailed dashboard from an aggregator called Predacle to crack open the multi-million-dollar world of prediction markets. Seriously, forget everything you think you know about sports betting. We're looking at real-time, dynamic markets where the underlying asset is literally human achievement. Let's get right into it. To really wrap our heads around how this works, I want to drop you right onto the pitch for an upcoming massive matchup. Just picture the stadium, the roar of the crowd, the insane stakes of the 2026 World Cup. We're looking at a hyper-specific scenario here. Who advances in a head-to-head clash between Mexico and England? Now, sure, you could ask a soccer expert, and they'd give you a passionate argument. But in a prediction market, we don't really care about opinions. We care about where the capital is flowing. We want to know exactly how the global market is pricing this outcome. Okay, let's dive into this. Right now, on a platform called Polymarket, which is one of the major exchanges tracked by our dashboard, the probability of yes for Mexico advancing is sitting at exactly 47%. The market has literally classified this as a toss-up. It's not 10%, it's not 90%. The collective wisdom of thousands of traders putting their actual hard-earned dollars on the line has decided this matchup is almost a dead heat, giving just a slight 53% edge to no. So that single percentage, it's a living, breathing consensus of probability.
Section 1. The math of the bet. Let's break down the risk and reward.
A percentage on a screen can feel a little abstract, right? So let's look at the concrete numbers. Using the Predacle bet calculator, let's put you directly in the shoes of a trader. Step 1. Let's say you believe in the Mexico squad, so you invest $100 on yes at that 47% probability price. Step 2. You just wait. This market stays active all the way until July 2026. So for 2 years, your position is firmly locked into the reality of that future event. Now, if your prediction holds true and the event resolves in your favor in July 2026, your total payout is exactly $215.05. And here's the thing. This isn't some arbitrary bookmaker's payout. It's simply the mathematical reality of buying shares in a yes outcome at a 47-cent price point. When the event actually happens, those shares mature to a full dollar. And this brilliantly illustrates your exact risk and reward. Breaking it down, your initial $100 bet generates a pure profit of $115.05. That brings your total payout to that $215.05 figure, resulting in a staggering 115% return. That is the premium you earn for taking on the risk of a 47% toss-up 2 years in advance. But keep in mind, these aren't fixed odds written on a chalkboard somewhere. Which brings us to Section 2, tracking market volatility and dynamic odds. We really have to shift our focus from the static math to dynamic, real-world action, because these probability prices fluctuate constantly based on news, injuries, and most importantly, how much money is pouring in. And trust me, there is a lot of money pouring in. This specific Mexico versus England matchup has already seen $1.9 million in trading volume on Polymarket. Think about that for a second. We are years away from kickoff, and nearly $2 million has already changed hands just on the question of who advances. It's this massive volume of capital moving back and forth that drives the constant shifts in the odds. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is when we trace the probability history in a highly liquid market like this. Over just a tiny 48-hour window, the swings are completely wild. On July 3rd, the probability of yes sat way down at 39%. Then, a massive market spike drove it all the way up to 54%, before it settled back down to 47% on July 4th. Why? Was it a rumor about a star player? Maybe a whale trader moving hundreds of thousands of dollars to shift the line? Whatever the cause, it just goes to show that this market is alive and reacting in real time. Let's move to Section 3, the multi-million-dollar picture and the tournament pools. So what happens when we zoom out from a single game to the ultimate question, the overall 2026 tournament winner pools? Prepare yourselves, because the scale is absolutely breathtaking. While that $1.9 million traded on the individual match is definitely impressive, just look at these staggering 9-figure tournament pools. The will USA win the 2026 FIFA World Cup market is sitting at an unbelievable $129.5 million in volume, Right behind it, the Mexico winner market is at 128.9 million and Morocco is at 124.5 million. The sheer scale of capital involved here is just awe-inspiring. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars strategically deployed to forecast a soccer tournament. But here is where human psychology makes things truly fascinating. The USA pool implies a 2% chance of winning. Mexico and Morocco both sit at a 3% probability. But look at Egypt and Paraguay. Egypt has a $120.8 million pool, and Paraguay has a $107.4 million pool. And the probability for both of them winning the entire tournament? 0%. Literally, functionally zero. Yet, combined, over $220 million is flowing through those specific markets. It tells us that in prediction markets, traders are constantly hunting for black swan events, hedging other bets, or, simply betting with their hearts, despite what the cold, hard math says. Let's move to Section 4 and see how this builds by aggregating the action. With hundreds of millions of dollars spread across wildly different probabilities and platforms, you really need specialized technology to bring all that noise into focus. And that technology is Predacle. It's a prediction market aggregator. It doesn't actually host the bets itself. Instead, it constantly browses over 6,900 active markets across 6 different platforms, including Polymarket, Callsheet, Myriad, Manifold, Limitless, and Bookmaker. It pulls all this live data and refreshes it every 30 minutes. This gives traders the ultimate macro view, allowing them to instantly compare that $1.9 million micro matchup to the $12.9 million macro tournament pools, all in one single place. So the absolutely crucial point here is that we have access to an almost incomprehensible amount of data, updated near instantly, tracking human sentiment perfectly priced in dollars. Naturally, Predacle integrated Google's Gemini AI to help make sense of this mountain of information. But when we look at the AI market analysis box for our 47% Mexico versus England toss-up, it simply says, AI analysis unavailable. Try refreshing the page. It turns out when two highly competitive teams are locked in a dead heat and human traders are throwing millions of dollars back and forth, causing wild 15-point probability swings in 48 hours, well, even the most advanced artificial intelligence in the world just throws its hands up and says, yeah, I have absolutely no idea. Which leaves us with an incredible final thought. We're entering this wild era where capital, sports fandom, and data aggregate on a massive, massive scale. But if the world's best AI can't confidently analyze the odds of a true toss-up, what does that mean for the future? As we march toward July 2026, will it be the cold logic of algorithms, the collective wisdom of the human crowd, or just the unpredictable magic on the pitch that ultimately predicts the victor? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep your eye on the markets.